Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Trump speaking from the White House.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reacted very positively to the U.S. strikes, thoroughly, without any doubt, fully endorsing President Trump's decision and the U.S. action. Listen to this.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
It's not going to happen. If anybody knows the Iranians, and there are plenty of people inside America who do know the Iranians, and the people who did, he did not take their advice. I don't know what Iran's going to do. I can tell you the Iranians inside Iran, I was able to get through this morning to Iran. As Richard pointed out, the internet is basically out, very difficult. Phone calls were very difficult. The European and American phone calls were being rejected by the Iranian cell service. But I was able to get through today, and Iranians are very worried, but they're not like welcoming Israeli attacks. They're certainly worried about American attacks, but they're not welcoming it. Richard is absolutely correct. The U.S. could totally bomb Iran into oblivion if it wanted to and install a preferred regime. But what that would do for us, I don't know. When I say us, what it would do for America, I have no idea at this point, and I don't think anybody does. So we've opened up this, this can of worms, basically, and we don't know what we have no idea.
Yeah, I was going to say, we may know from, the American president made clear that, or suggested certainly that this is a one-off, right? This was a time now for peace, as he said in his Truth Social post. But we don't have an indication yet from the Israelis as to whether or not they're going to stop, whether or not they're going to continue targeting high-ranking officials, whether they will go after the supreme leader, whether they'll go after the president of Iran, whether they'll go after other nuclear scientists. And so with that question mark still open, I think the idea that I was bouncing around with Richard was whether or not the regime would be willing to negotiate with the United States to get Israel to stop any of that or all of that, and to some extent ensure the survivability of the regime.
Well, so far, Iran has said, they'll start negotiating. They'll talk to the U.S. the minute bombing stops. They believe, as I believe the foreign minister of Iran has said to Andrea Mitchell, it's one phone call from Trump to Benjamin Netanyahu, and the bombing stops. And if that stops, then Iran can calculate how they're going to talk to the U.S. about what the next steps are. It seems to me, and this is my own opinion, that President Trump may have thought this was a Soleimani issue. It's, one in, out, and then out. You bomb the facilities, you tell the Iranians, fine, go ahead privately, through back channels, go ahead and bomb one of our empty bases in the Persian Gulf with no soldiers, no fatalities, and we'll call it a day. And call, the U.S. will claim victory. The Iranians will say it's done and finished. I don't think that's a proper reading of the Iranians in this case. I think this is not a Soleimani, Qasem Soleimani, the IRGC general that he assassinated in 2018. It's not that situation. I think the Iranians now have been bombed for its 8 days of war. They have suffered at least a couple of hundred, if not more, fatalities of innocent civilians, plus many, many, many injured people. It's not that simple to just say, okay, we're going to go bomb their facilities and we're going to be out of there. And Iran is just going to say, okay, let's negotiate an end to this by saying, we will give up enrichment. Everything that you've wanted, we're going to give you. How does that leave the regime? Even if you believe that the regime should be gone, how does that leave the regime in the eyes of its own people? And particularly the 20 to 25% who are diehard supporters of this regime. Yeah. So I think we don't know what we've done, to be honest with you, at this point. And we're going to see in the coming days.
Yeah, that is the scary thought in all of this. Houman Majd, it's great to hear your insights this evening. I'm sorry it had to be on such a developing story, but greatly appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks, Eamon.